The presidency of Donald J. Trump brought significant shifts in economic policies. Many of these changes were polarizing and transformational. His administration's agenda sought to reshape the American and global economic landscape in unprecedented ways. Supporters hailed these policies as bold and necessary. Critics often highlighted the potential long-term risks and negative consequences. These debates about his legacy continue to shape discussions about modern economic policies. One of the hallmark achievements of the Trump administration was the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. This legislation represented the most sweeping tax reform in decades. It aimed to stimulate economic growth through reductions in corporate and individual taxes. The corporate tax rate was reduced from 35% to 21%, making it more competitive globally. Proponents argued that this reduction incentivized businesses to invest domestically. They believed it would lead to job creation and economic expansion. On the individual side, the tax reforms restructured tax brackets and increased the standard deduction. This provided immediate relief to many middle-class families. However, critics pointed out that the benefits disproportionately favored the wealthy and large corporations. The reforms also added significantly to the national deficit. This raised concerns about fiscal sustainability and the burden on future generations. The national debt continued to grow under these policies, sparking debates. Trump's administration embarked on an aggressive deregulation campaign. Industries ranging from energy to finance saw major changes during his tenure. The two-out, one-in executive order mandated that for every new regulation introduced, 2 existing ones had to be eliminated. This approach aimed to reduce bureaucratic hurdles. It sought to foster a business-friendly environment that encouraged growth. However, critics argued that this approach sometimes prioritized profits over public safety. In the energy sector, the rollback of Obama-era environmental regulations became a central focus. Restrictions on coal, oil, and natural gas production were lifted. The administration aimed to achieve what it called energy dominance. This move benefited fossil fuel industries significantly, sparking renewed interest in domestic energy production. Environmentalists, however, warned of the potential long-term consequences. Increased carbon emissions and environmental degradation were among their chief concerns. Trade was another cornerstone of Trump's economic agenda. It was characterized by a marked shift toward protectionism and renegotiation of trade deals. His administration renegotiated several trade agreements, with the most notable being the replacement of NAFTA with the USMCA. This new agreement aimed to boost U.S. manufacturing. The administration also waged a high-profile trade war with China. It imposed tariffs on billions of dollars worth of goods, aiming to address trade imbalances. The goal was to confront intellectual property theft and unfair trade practices. However, the trade war's impact on American farmers and industries was deeply felt. Retaliatory measures from China created significant challenges for U.S. agricultural exports. The trade war also contributed to market volatility and uncertainty for businesses. During Trump's presidency, the U.S. experienced historically low unemployment rates. By late 2019, the rate had dropped to 3.5%, the lowest in 50 years. Job creation was robust in sectors such as manufacturing, construction, and energy. The administration frequently touted these figures as evidence of its policy success. Critics, however, argued that these achievements were partly due to momentum inherited from the previous administration. They questioned the sustainability of these gains. The COVID-19 pandemic dramatically reversed these economic achievements. The pandemic exposed vulnerabilities in the labor market and the healthcare system. The stock market saw significant growth during Trump's presidency. Major indices such as the Dow Jones and S&P 500 reached record highs bolstered by his policies. Despite these gains, reliance on stock market performance as a proxy for overall economic health drew criticism. Many argued it disproportionately benefited wealthy individuals. Trump's relationship with the Federal Reserve was contentious. He frequently criticized its monetary policies, particularly interest rate hikes, that he argued hindered economic growth. Income inequality remained a persistent issue during Trump's presidency. Many argued that the administration's policies exacerbated the problem, further widening the wealth gap. The outbreak of COVID-19 in 2020 marked a defining moment for Trump's economic legacy. The pandemic triggered widespread business closures and skyrocketing unemployment rates. The administration's response included the CARES Act, which provided stimulus checks, expanded unemployment benefits, and offered support for small businesses. While these measures provided temporary relief, critics argued that the administration's overall handling of the pandemic was inconsistent. Many blamed the lack of a coordinated federal response. The long-term effects of Trump's economic policies remain a subject of intense debate. Supporters highlight efforts to revitalize U.S. manufacturing and reduce regulatory burdens. Conversely, detractors point to rising national debt and environmental concerns as significant challenges. The trade wars strained relationships with key allies and trading partners. Trump's economic policies also had ripple effects on the global economy. The US-China trade war, in particular, had far-reaching consequences and disrupted global supply chains. The Trump economy was a complex and multifaceted era. It was marked by significant achievements and notable controversies shaping contemporary economic history.